How you doing, Scorpio? Let's see what we got going on for you. Celtic cross for Scorpio. Celtic cross for Scorpio. Please give me clear messages for Scorpio that will help them onto their hearts. Scorpio. The rest of the Celtic cross. Really want to talk, huh, Scorpio? Scorpio. So, Two of Clubs in reverse. You no longer want to collaborate with somebody. You feel kind of drained and worn out by whatever situation you're dealing with or whatever person that you're dealing with. Now, Two of Clubs in the upright, that's usually trying to build and expand on something, trying to expand on an enterprise, like collaboration with a relationship. And when it's upside down, you don't want that anymore. You're not interested in collaborating with somebody. You're not interested in working with somebody because somebody here is just ridiculously draining. You feel heavier when this person is around. You feel like maybe this person is like a time drain, an energy drain, like just kind of like just someone who wastes time in general, you know, like waste your time, waste other people's time, waste their own time. And instead of getting to do the things that you usually do, that you have to do, that you need to do, you find yourself dealing with somebody who constantly always wants to, I don't know, take up your time, drain your energy. Now, foundation, the causes of the situation, your physical, emotional needs, plus your subconscious desires. King of Swords in reverse. Now, it doesn't have to be a man or a woman, in particular, but if it, but it's really just the energy. They can have air within their chart, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. But a King of Swords, this is someone who can be illogical. This is someone who can lie by omission, or, play with words to avoid the truth. And maybe they don't only lie to the other people around them, but also to themselves in a way too. Maybe this person, is kind of unaware of their pull on people, or maybe that they do, or maybe that they're just caught up. I mean, when you have a King of Swords in the upright, this is someone who's logical. You got someone upside down is someone who's illogical. Someone who lacks judgment. Someone who is like not balanced, someone who jumps to conclusions and lies by omission and causes issue. And this is someone who is can be quite toxic in their own right. Maybe they don't mean to be, maybe they don't set out to be, I don't know, but it's a certain collection of behaviors, whether that they are aware or unaware of what those behaviors really are. It makes them just not exactly the right fit for you, that you don't really want to deal with, because, you shouldn't feel drained having to deal with a person. This can be somebody who, I don't know, chronic time waster. Someone who needs a lot of attention, Someone who doesn't focus on their own stuff and likes to avoid their own stuff, so they like to come and disturb you. Now, the past, 8 of Clubs. In the past, there was movement. There was action. There was communication back and forth. There was movement towards working together with somebody, whether it's a relationship or a friend or, a business partner or an employment or job. But in the past, it seemed like you had a lot of good, you moved towards this person, and they moved towards you. You were open to communication in some regard. Maybe, you knew them through, mutual friends, or friends of family, or, a new job, or I don't know, but you seemed, like you had initially in the past. I mean, in the past you did have good feelings about the situation, but something changed. Something really changed. I don't know if you saw a different side to this person in particular, or you kind of were getting out of a situation with somebody who was quite, I don't know, deceitful. Or you just generally tend to draw these people towards you, perhaps. Maybe if I have a really good sensor as to what makes a toxic person. I mean, I don't notice it right away. It's mainly in hindsight, so that's why I'm trying to build a collection of things to try to pick it out quicker, because I still fall for the okie doke, and maybe it's because I've had a lot of people like that in my life, who were like that, so it takes me a little while to differentiate exactly what kind of energy that they're coming from or who they are. And when you meet someone that's kind of toxic, just and it's somebody new, somebody, you don't know that well, or only in passing, and, you open up a conversation, just take stock of where you are in your life. Is everything going, you feel like everything is on a downturn? Are you going through some hard times? Are you coming out of a bad relationship or toxic job or toxic friend group or toxic family, but you're trying to separate yourself from it, and you're kind of not at your best? You're kind of at a low energy, and then lo and behold, you meet somebody new, a new friend, a new lover, But usually, whenever we're in a kind of a not toxic, but whenever we're in a negative energy, we tend to attract negative people towards us. Just wanted to come out, I guess. And, you may have met this person at that kind of time, just gotten out of something really heavy, and you felt kind of drained already, and maybe you needed some kind of emotional support, or maybe this person that you just met kind of gave that to you at one point, or you were there for each other, you're coming from the same boat. But it looks like you were trying to get yourself out of that boat, out of that negative mindset, or feeling lost or blocked, or, like you're coming out of that. You're coming out of keeping yourself in a particular cycle that had a particular type of toxicity of people that demanded a lot from you, but they didn't really offer that much in return. And it seems like you got yourself out of the last situation, whatever that may be, wanting to start a new slate, and then boom, you may have met a new toxic person, toxic buddy, I don't know, within the same energy. And you felt like at the time you met a kindred spirit, you were going through the same thing, but you kind of noticed a disconnect when you're trying to pull yourself out of that energy. And you started to feel a pull, or kind of an increase in frequency of the neediness of this particular person or situation, that, a particular situation or person kind of expected of you or constantly requested of you. Like a person who wants to hang out constantly when you say that you're busy and you're trying to start that business, or you're trying to, organize your home, or you're trying to declutter because you have to move, or, something like big ticket things that are really important to you. And you express that, and lo and behold, people come and they just want a lot of your time, They want a whole lot of your time. And they come from a place of wanting to be friendly, let's hang out, everything's light. But it's like, yeah, everything's light, and you want to hang out, it's fun, but I told you I'm kind of busy, and instead of you expecting them to do their own thing, they kind of increase that frequency, and maybe you went along with it for a little while, but you found yourself more depleted. And maybe there's little idiosyncrasy things. There's a huge disconnect in the type of way that you and this other person or situation kind of handles themselves in life in a particular way. And if there's just something that doesn't mesh very well. And in the past, you kind of made this choices that you wanted to move towards something. You felt that the people that you did keep around after a massive decluttering of toxic situations in the past, that they would have some kind of understanding of that, but instead not really. Still neediness, tomfoolery, people that waste your time, people that like attention, that constantly like to get your attention, who makes plans with you to do things, but either doesn't show up or doesn't really go through with those plans in the right way. And you end up doing something in particular together, or expecting to do that, and instead you end up going towards them or with your set out plans, and then you end up watching them do their chores when you took time out of your day to do what you needed to do, to actually hang out and do something in particular. And then it's those kind of type of people who ask you to come over and to hang out with you all the time, but then if you go over or if you meet them, they're constantly on their phone or doing their own crap or their own errands. It's like, dude, why did you even ask me over? Why? I'm busy. I have my own stuff to do. Why do you think I want to be chilling at your house? I took time because I felt Like, yeah, I guess if you want to hang out, I'll take an hour, but the hour always ends up like 3 or 4 hours, and then they want to hang out after that thing. If you do that thing, then it's 5 hours, and it's like, dude, like, don't you have anything to do? Like, I'm actually busy. I'm moving towards something, but it's like you feel like you told them at this point, like, hey, are you busy? Yeah, like, for example, like, hey, you're busy. Oh, school's out, and like, somebody assumes that you have a ton of time because school's not in session, and you don't have to worry about that if you got children, and let's hang out and do everything together. It's like, well, I got stuff to do. It's like, yo, well, good, you got stuff to do, that's great. And I was like, when are you available? Okay, I'm available 1 to 4 p.m. throughout the day. My dog's sick, and I gotta take care of him. I got a family that I gotta take care of. I got a house to clean. I got shit to do. I got stuff to do. 1 to 4, and then they're like, yeah, come over this day, and then like you come over that day. Well, and you're like, okay, at 1 to 4. If you're like, come over at noon. I just told you I'm available 1 to 4. Okay, come over at 1. You get over there at 1, and then they're doing errands and shit. I don't know. Like, it's like when you're supposed to be going to like the beach or something that you actually took time out of your day to actually want to do, and to actually take a break from all that you got to do, because you got a lot going on. You're exhausted, you're overworked, you don't even take time out for yourself a lot, and then this person comes, makes plans with you, and thinks that you're there to just, I don't know, to keep them company, or like entertain them in some way. I mean, I don't know. It's like, do you ever just, and I've had a lot of people like this in my life, and sometimes you're not aware of it until later on in the game. It's like I don't have a lot of time to give. Like, I'm already overworked, I'm already tired, I'm already exhausted. So when I take certain time out of my day to do something in particular, that it's like a break from a little bit of work, you expect to do that particular thing that you're interested in doing, that you agreed to, that was in order for you to take time out of your day. And then you feel kind of disrespected that it was totally disregarded for somebody else's like convenience. Like, you're there as their entertainment and their convenience, that they could be late, or they could make up their own plans and act like, it's totally cool and let's do this again. You were a good monkey juggling for me. It's like, no, like, and it's like something that you don't really want to deal with it anymore. You're not really sure if you see the benefit of it, and you're starting to feel ridiculously drained, and when you have people like that just continually just waste time all the time, is one, they don't really value their own time, and two, because they don't value your time, it's because they don't value their own time, So it's like, how are you gonna put value to something that you have no value of? If you're sitting around and wasting it and want other people to waste time with you, you could waste your entire life like that on people who are not even considerate of your time, and the fact that you took time out of your busy schedule to agree to something in particular to do, not just stick around as their entertainment and to be validated while they're doing their own shit, while all of your shit gets ignored. And it's frustrating, and you're cutting it out. you're calling it. You feel that you have to make a decision. Perhaps you let this person know. Perhaps you kind of want to just cut it out because maybe it's not even worth mentioning it. I don't know. But it's like you don't want to have to feel obligated to people who don't respect your time and who's totally cool with wasting 4 to 5 hours a day. Like there is nothing that is that fun and important to spend that much time on one single thing when it comes to just hanging out and doing stuff when you got tons of crap to do. It just doesn't make sense in my eyes. It really doesn't. And people like that will just drain the life out of you. And you end up not achieving anything. You don't have any motivation because you're ruminating about how much time you wasted again, when you told them you had a specific time that you were there. And then they play fast and loose and liberal with it. Hey, let's meet up at this time in this place at, the pool or whatever. And then you're like, okay, I'll meet you here at 2:00, and they end up at 3:30, right when you want to go home because you have other things to do except sit by the pool for 3 hours pretty much because they just got there, and it just becomes like that. And it might have been a number of situations like that, and it's something that just build and build and build. And perhaps it's you've been there before and you don't want to deal with it, and you feel like they don't really respect you or your time when that happens, and it's something that you just want to make the cut. You want to call. There's some justice that's going to be happening because maybe you feel like that there was a sort of injustice towards the situation. And when or maybe this is just karmic justice coming down and expelling justice where it may lay. One, maybe it is justice for allowing yourself to be swayed when you have something busy and this person was a time drain before, and you go in hoping for the best. Or two, you decide not to deal with this person at all because you feel like this is a multiple thing and this is kind of like the modus operandi, and you're not sure if it's going to get better, and you just kind of want to call it and not deal with it anymore. And you feel like, like I said, if you're ever with somebody who wants to just waste a ton of time and you end up doing that and feeling frustrated afterwards, have you ever walked away from that, frustrated and feel kind of used? You know what I mean? And it's you're calling it. There's justice that's being expelled, whether it is your time for being eaten up because you didn't say something at that time. And trust me, I've been in this situation, or it's been a couple of situations, it's been a couple of occurrences, and then you kind of speak your mind. You can't hold it back anymore, and then you let them know what's going on. You let them know what time it is. It's kind of taking your power back. You're making a decision and calling it. You're not sure if it's even worth it at this point because all because it's company. If it is, you have to ask yourself, is company worth it if they just distract you from the things that you need to do, even though you tell them something is important, and yet they're still wanting company every second of the day. That is, it's something that looks like it frustrated you, and I could see that. Now, how you see yourself, your personal strength and weaknesses, and an individual perspective of you. 7 of Clubs. You feel like you had to prove, say your piece. This isn't something that can be sit on anymore because it's been a number of occurrences and it's been large amounts of time that's been eaten up, and you have something that you need to do. And, try to get in a Scorpio's way when they're trying to get something done. It's not pretty. And it looks like you did let them let them know how you were kind of unhappy with it, but maybe you shouldn't have sat on it for as long as you did, but maybe you had to take time to process it as to why it was like something that bothered you so much, because you couldn't quite put your finger on it. It was like quite covert, I guess, or quite under like the radar in some ways. But you feel like you had to stand up for yourself. If it is someone who wastes your time or demands a bunch of shit from you or gives you an unfair amount of workload at the job, or maybe your family has had a habit of doing this when you were younger, and it's like a cycle that you kind of fell into, that people just expect this large amounts of time. And, you know, it just, when you see yourself as a friend to somebody, or, you know, and you try to be there, I mean, you will. You have loyalty and you care deeply about people who have helped you through a bad time. But if they're always going through a bad time, and if they never have something to do, like as in like that they want to spend 4 or 5 hours just doing nothing, then it's kind of like, okay, it's okay that you could waste your time, but it becomes an issue when you're wasting my time, you know. And you're standing up for yourself. You probably said something, and, you know, it's like you wanting to make a cut, and stop allowing a person to do that, because, you know, it's a drain. You feel drained. You would rather at this point be relaxing in the comfort of your home, doing absolutely nothing, than watching somebody do all of their shit or watching their phone, when you took time out of your day to go over to see them at their request. You know, like, I don't know. So your environment, your home, your surroundings, your family, loves and friends, work, that which is outside of yourself, and how others perceive you. So your environment, your home, your surroundings, that which is outside of yourself, and how others perceive you. So now you let them know that you're hella busy. Maybe that they didn't realize this before as much as you thought they should have, because they're just so used to wasting their own time, they just assume that everybody else does that too. I don't know. You know, but it looks like they have their own stuff that they have to do, but this is somebody that kind of like, or like avoids their own stuff, and they see you here working, trying to put the work in, trying to do things in particular, and you even let them know that, but yet they make it a point to waste more of your time and keep you away from the things that you're trying to build. You're trying to build something here. You're trying to build something that's important to you. And if it's important to you, and if you let people know this, then if they care about you, it should be important to them too. And yet, you know, you find themselves kind of doing those kind of things more and more and more, like almost it's intentional, like they're trying to, like, you know, suck up more of your time, maybe because they knew that they could get it initially, and then it's just the frequency just gets more, and maybe you didn't notice it all that much until you actually started to want to put the work in, and you're seeing how much that this is really a distraction. Now your hopes and fears of attaining the goal, the lesson to be learned, blocking your development. The devil. Now this can be a Capricorn, this can be somebody who, you know, can be codependent, somebody that, you know, expects other people to entertain them because they don't take initiative to actually trying to build something or manifest something. Maybe this person, doesn't really have to work, or, like, where this person is like, there's some kind of like enmeshment here. Like there's somebody who needs their attention and to have their ego propped up a lot. And maybe in some regard, at the time that you met this person, you kind of shared that kind of trait because you were going through, a bit of a rough time. But you seem like you pulled out of this and they didn't. And it seems like they're trying to, or not trying to, but they ended up being even more of a drain. Now that you're noticing that you're trying to get out of that energy and do something in particular, your hopes here and your fears, you fear people who are codependent. You fear people who depend too much on you and doesn't give back equally. You fear that of unreciprocal situations and relationships because you've had a long history with that. And you don't want to feel dependent on or obligated towards something in particular, especially something that doesn't offer you a whole lot, except at the end of the day, you still have a ton of shit to do, and all you have is wasted time and nothing done while they got theirs done, or, they were able to avoid their stuff while using you to do that, or they were able to distract you because they need attention and, or they don't want to take initiative to work on what they need to do. I don't know. But you fear being chained and stuck to somebody, especially somebody that can be kind of needy, Why would you hope for that? Maybe you're hoping to get some kind of autonomy from situations like this, and this is what you're trying to achieve now too. Why the devil? Because you want something in particular. You want to build something for yourself, and this is something like a need that you have within you that's really, it's not centered on people, but a goal or a direction in particular. And, like, to the point that sometimes it makes you really extra frustrated, maybe even more so frustrated than it's that much, that it seems kind of out of place because of it, because of this anxiety, because of this fear. And maybe you want this distraction, and because you're feared that you don't achieve it, but then that's why it's so kind of like captivating towards you, because like you kind of don't want to put that much work into it because of the fear of not achieving it. And that's why the idea of a time waster can be seductive, because it gets your mind off of the task and it elicits a certain kind of procrastination within you because of a certain kind of fear. Now, the outcome, what you will gain from the experience, the reward, the quality or tool that will help you achieve a breakthrough. The Seven of Cups. Now, this is like confusion. The outcome, what you will gain from the reward or from this experience. the reward, the quality or tool that will help you achieve a breakthrough. This is feeling gaslit. This is feeling frustrated, and not only with, the time waster, but of yourself, that you're allowed yourself to be swayed and maybe deep down from the things that you need to do and your goals that you want to achieve, and deep down, like, you're really frustrated at yourself for allowing yourself to be thrown and distracted and thrown off track. And usually when you have people around like that who constantly wants company while they waste their time, a lot of times it's because they want to avoid all of the stuff they should be doing. And that doesn't necessarily leave a healthy person. And if you're not exactly a healthy person and you just avoid all of the things that you need to do, you're not exactly the most positive environment that you would create around yourself either, Like, you feel like there's a lot of confusion, or you feel like you're not really sure of what you're dealing with. Maybe you feel in some way that you're not even sure if you should be upset, and maybe you kind of like went overboard on the situation, and you're doubting yourself, and maybe you're even starting to feel kind of gaslit and confused, and because you've picked up some kind of, like judgmental questionings before even this certain amount, and you're not really sure of what you're dealing with in particular. Now, initially, you wanted to be charitable towards this situation. You were there for each other, but then when you were getting yourself out of it, when you started to focus on what you needed to do, this person kind of stayed within that energy. And instead of being reciprocal towards pulling each other out of that energy and supportive on putting yourself in a better place, then you start feeling depleted. And then you start feeling that you're giving more than you actually have, and it's starting to take you away from the things that you want to achieve and do. And now you're jumping from this situation. You're like, look, I don't know if the situation is for me. It was okay at the time, and I thought we would be able to have more of a reciprocal thing, but then you're starting to feel more like, instead of it being reciprocal, it's more like a drain on your energy, because they stay in that kind of like negativity, and you kind of feel like, I don't know, like a puppet on a string. Like, you're there for their amusement, you're there to juggle for them, and without any regard of what you need to do. And that's why they don't really consider it, to be honest, because they're worried about having company for themselves, because if it wasn't you giving them company to avoid what they need to do, they would find somebody else to do it, because maybe this is a person who just can't be alone and that needs this attention, and if they're not getting that attention from somebody, they're gonna find it from somebody else, and that's not really a test to a very beneficial relationship for you in the long run, unless your goal is just to waste a ton of time and stay exactly in the same situation that you are, and you're not ready to do that, and you feel like you're going through different directions, and you're going to a certain kind of path, and you need to kind of cut out the distractions, because you feel like you gave somebody an equal amount of notice to be like, this is what I'm doing, hey. And even though you're not telling them, hey, respect that, you kind of assume that they would by not wasting your fucking time. I don't know. Now, bottom of the deck, Six of Clubs. What you don't know, there will be a victory in the situation. You're going to leave the situation because you do have many opportunities. You feel drained and you're giving too much time and energy to somebody that you feel like it wasn't getting you anywhere. It was like, and so you're jumping out, you don't want to deal with this, you don't want to invest time with it, you don't want to work together with it because you feel drained and exhausted. This person's energy drained, and you got things to do. You got tons of things to do, and you're trying to weed out how much of it is theirs and how much of it is yours, as into why you why you reacted the way that you did, and if it was actually warranted, But I feel like it was, because, you know if somebody is good or bad to have in your life when you're feeling completely drained and you're not getting anything done, and you feel kind of used throughout the process, right? So what you don't know, maybe you're going to jump out of the situation, you're going to stop investing in the situation, and you're going to have a victory because of it. Because, you're managing your time more, you're not giving towards people that are just a time drain, and because you want to come from a more victorious place, you want to come from a place that you're achieving something, and it doesn't even have to be something like riches or tangible, but just feeling like accomplished, into knowing that you got some things out of the way, because you are overwhelmed and exhausted. You don't have that much to give. And now you're seeing where the holes in that boat is, and where the energy is draining out, and how to manage that as a result. And, even though you may have overreacted in a certain degree towards the situation, as you feel that you did, I feel like ultimately it was the right choice for you, because you have a purpose, you have something to do, and you want people around who would actually respect that, Now, let me see. 3 sevens. So there is good luck coming with these 3 sevens here. Even though you might not think there is, or you're feeling drained, take time out to rest when needed. Focus your time and energy on you and what you need to do. And if you do that, you will be victorious, and you definitely have some good luck coming your way. Maybe this is, bringing the luck towards yourself by, weighing out what is beneficial and what isn't. Now, why in reverse? Why is this? Any advice from Spirit? Why in reverse? I don't even know if I'm going to take that reversal. We'll see. Now, be observant. So, why in your reverse? Maybe it's time to ask yourself why it is that you keep running into people like this. Maybe there's an element of procrastination or wanting to avoid your problems in some way that constantly brings people around that do that as well. And that's the kind of thing that draws so much emotion and frustration from you, because usually the trait that you dislike most in other people is the trait that you kind of have and you have yet to own. So that's why you judge it so harshly within the other people around you. Now, there is some kind of luck element that will be coming your way. Perhaps you have to ask yourself why you get in certain relationships like this, or perhaps you tend to just blurt out an answer to a question or an invitation without really thinking about it, and it kind of gets you into situations dealing with this or this type of situations in general. Maybe when you find the reason why, that's when you could come to peace with it and in terms with it in some way, and be more prepared for what you would do when it comes to situations like this, of running into or meeting people who are overly dependent into having your attention or needing company while they ignore the important things in life. But it is preparing you by realizing what needs to be dropped and how much freer and lighter you will be when you do so. Now, part of easing that frustration that you feel, or trying to attain a certain goal and not being able to get there, on top of having people waste your time, it's important to remain present in the here and now. It's not the destination, it's the journey. And it's a holding pattern that the universe is keeping you in to teach you a bit of patience. Maybe meditation might help, or breathing exercises, or when you feel that anxiety, that you feel like you're not going anywhere, but you are where you need to be. And it's important to be cognizant of all of the beautiful gifts that you have around you and the benefits of holding that accomplishment or things that you want, so you could actually really value it when you actually attain it. Because when things are just given to you, like money and stuff, you're not going to value it as much. Or time, like because you have money, you're not going to value it as much. If you don't have anything to really strive for, to work for, or need, because the need is what drives you. But the need is also that thing that could drive you crazy because you didn't get that thing. But it's not about getting that thing. It's about finding the joy in the here and now, that you could live in the energy of getting that thing without actually having to attain that thing, and feeling ultimately empty when you do, because you didn't allow yourself to be happy until you got that thing. And then when you got that thing, because you withheld happiness until you got it the whole time, it feels disappointing that you expected more when you achieved it. The heart is what makes it great. Like I saw that League of Their Own, when they said that it got too hard. Well, the heart is what makes it great, because if it wasn't hard, that everybody would be doing it. So be observant when you feel that anxiety coming up, because you didn't accomplish what you feel that you need to do, or all that you needed to do, or you feel like you're not in the place where you need to be. Remember, it's the here and now that's important. And feeling that you already have it is the best place to manifest from. But that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Much love and light to you. Donation box below if you feel moved to do so. And sometimes I leave extra notes on the bottom if I channel anything extra. Alrighty, bye.